add a new scene or something along those lines, we can go down this route. So we've got our main screen here, our main scene, and what we want to do is add a new one to this. And this is going to advance our game a little bit so that we can have varying scenes. These can be levels, something like that, or a menu screen, and that's what we're going to do today. So to kick off, we have our main screen, our main scene here, and what we're going to do is go down to File, just here, and click on New Scene, and we should end up with a new scene. So click on the main camera there, zoom in, and we have a new scene. What I want to do then is click on File, and just so that we know what we're doing is save that new scene, and we're going to call this Splash. This is actually going to be a menu scene but also like a splash screen, so we want to save that. So then we go into our scenes and we save that there, and we see we've got another scene. It's a Unity project file, and that comes up just there like so, and we have this kind of structure. So what we want to do here is actually set a couple of things up. First thing, we don't want it to be blue. We've got our camera preview here. If we go to game, see it's got a blue background. We actually want to set this up so it's a bit more in keeping with our Pong game. So we're going to set the background to be kind of a grey colour there. So we drop that down there, and we have a grey background. So we go over to a game, and we see it's kind of grey. So we just set that as being grey in the background. Now, as this is going to be like a menu screen, like a startup splash screen, we obviously need some user interface settings. So again, we go up to our game object, UI, and what we're going to do is actually just drop in a text field. And what we get, as we did with the last week, is a canvas, and we have a text field. Now we're going to rename our canvas to be this is going to be our user interface, and then what we want to do is actually rename this to be our start, like so. And that's great, and actually if we look, we can see we have some text here. So if I pan back a little bit from this, keep going, so we can see we have our text just here. So if I click on start, we can see we have a text here, like so. Like that. So there's our game view. So we just want to adjust this, and we don't really want that to be there. We want that to be the top, and that's going to be our first thing is going to be a start button. So actually what we want to do before we have a start button actually is, let's just duplicate that. So Control D, I duplicate that, I drag one of those above, keeping it in the UI, and I rename that as being title. So like so, and we can drag that one above title, and I'm going to put in here Pongish, because that's the name of our game. And if I just zoom in a little bit more here, drag it up, you can see that we've got these two items in there. I've just renamed that. But Pongish is not really looking too much as we want it to look. We want that sort of 8-bit feel. So what we're going to do is just centralize that for a start. And we used last time a font. So if I go over to my fonts, and I can drag this into where we have Arial, and we'll see this changes then to our nice kind of 8-bit style font. And we want to change the color of this, and what we're going to go for is a different color. We're going to go for the greens. I'm going to go for a nice sort of vibrant green color, like so, because that looks good. So we want to do the same with start. We click in here, and again we want to change this to start, drag in our font like so, centralize it. We click on here, we centralize it up, we change the color, here, zoom that up to the top, and we've got that. That's great, and what we can now do is just duplicate that a couple of times to, there we go. And what we want to do with these, if I grab this, like so, is move this down, this one down as well, 2 like so. We're changing this, we're going to change the name of that, rename this settings. This one we're going to rename as well, rename to exit that. So click on settings, text in there, so we rename the text to settings and the text in here to exit, like so. So we're starting to see that. So if we pop into our game, we should see that we've got this quite nice kind of scene starting to form. What we might want to do actually is just in our title, I click on title, is just increase the font size of this, perhaps a little bit to 20, maybe 25. If it drops out of the view, what we can do of this is click on it, and we can just go to our expanding, the actual text view size, so you can see that we can expand it like so. That's what's going on with this one. Let's have a look. Just make sure it's in line. So we went just a little bit awry there. So we got pungish there. Okay. Now, if we want to add a little bit more detail to this, or a little bit more, make it look a little bit more in keeping, what we can do is actually add a component to this, and we go down. We've got lots of different components we can add, as we have done, and we can go to UI, and what we have is some effects for our UI, and we can add a nice shadow to it. You probably can't see the shadow straight off because it's kind of covered. So in the y-axis, what we want to do is just extend that to something like -5, and we get a nice kind of feel to that. So if we just go to our game view, we can see we've got a nice kind of shadowed effect to that, and that looks good. We like that. So that's nice. Okay, so we've got these settings, which is great, but it doesn't really do much at the moment. In fact, it doesn't do anything. We've got sort of pongish, start, settings, and exit. We can't click on it, we can't do anything. So we need to make these, we need to do something with this. And what we can do is make these text actually into buttons. So they have a button process or button method to them. So we click on start here. We can go to add component. Again, go down to UI. Move along from UI and go to button. On our button, we have a number of different transitions and processes that we can use for the UI. So what we can do is actually with a highlighted color, if I click on this, we can change it and give it a kind of grey, sort of greying there, like so. And with our pressed color, we can make that, say, black. So if I now go to play, and just go to game view, you should see that now as I roll over it, I actually have a, let's just get rid of that game view down the bottom there. So if as I roll over it, you should see that it just rolls over and it changes colour. So we now know that it's got that focus. If I click on it, you can see that it goes black. So we know that it's been clicked on. And that's because we're using these. So we've got these settings. So let's click out of that. And so we can do the same for our settings as well. We can add a component. Go down to UI, same thing again. And we have a button. And we have a highlighted colour, which again sets being grey. And you can, if you want to set these exactly, you can follow the values there. And press colour as being black. So just pop that down to black, like so. And we want to do the same for exit as well. So adding component and UI, and we're going to add in, where am I going? Button, aren't we? So we go to button, highlighted colour again, and we go to grey and press colour. We're going to go for black, and these can be any colours, it doesn't really matter. So like so. See, I've got to roll over, they go grey, I click on them, it goes black. So this kind of know that we rolled over it, and we can click on it and it goes black, which is great. And we'll talk a little bit more about where we're going to go from here in the next video. Okay.